Yes, yes.
Perfect. So in the last two sessions, we took an introduction for understanding the risk management, how it is applied on small projects, how it is recognized within the program, and then within the bigger picture as an organization under the portfolio management. It was important to understand why it is very crucial to have the risk management according to those domains, and then we explore what are the key factors for our success to implement the risk management. Beside that, we understand how it is reflecting on each other and what is the principles of the risk management to be adopted within this domains and organization. We understood, or by now we understood the main terminologies like the threshold, the appetite, what is the risk actually, the definition of the risk, positive, negative, opportunities, threats, all those terminologies we have covered. Another thing we understand it, the concept of the impact and probability. This is a very crucial crucial to understand when it comes to define the risk. Another thing that we covered also actually is the responsibilities within the different domains. What is the role of the project manager or the risk manager when it comes to the program? What his role or her role when it comes to the portfolio or program or the project on the minimum or on the smallest scale. I want you to understand that how we are going to cover the material from now. We agreed that there is a life cycle for the whole project. Remember when we took the introduction to the PMP, we understand that there is something called the management, the project management life cycle. As well, we have a life cycle for the risk management. So planning the risk management, this is the first step. Identification of risk, perform qualitative risk analysis, and of course, if you're going as part of your analysis, you need to do also the quantitative analysis. Then after you have your risk register ready with the items that might cause any problem or any good benefit to the project in the future, then you need to plan your response to those items. You have your plan ready. You already assigned the persons or the people who or the team member that's going to be responsible for this particular event, and you did already planned the funding for this item as well. Now you need to implement your risk response. While you're doing this as a project manager or as a risk manager, you need to have a monitor all over the process while it is executed, from the beginning, from the planning stage till the execution and the closing of the project. Now, guys, before the course was focusing on applying the risk management on the project only. After the latest enhancement created by the PMI, they are focusing on applying the risk management on the different level or on the different domains. So we agreed that we have enterprise risk management, portfolio risk management, program risk management, project risk management. Every one of them is considered as a domain. So the principle or the standard is taking care or is focusing on applying the life cycle on the different level or different domains. This is the first thing I want you to keep in your mind, how we are applying this. So every time that we are mentioning, we are focusing on the enterprise or taking each life cycle, we are going to say how it is applied on the first level, or how to apply it on the second level, or as in the management. That's why the introduction was focusing a lot on the integration, on the tailoring, on communication, on the managing the organizational resource within the different domains. How is the context of the organizational activities is going to be applied from the top of the hierarchy of the organization to the minimum, or to the least project or smallest project on the portfolio as a whole, or if it was a sole or individual project, and how we are going to collectively manage the risk from the bottom to from the bottom. When we say the bottom, we are referring to the projects upper to the organization level, where we are focusing on the policies and the procedures and the strategic point of view of the organization. Okay. So our course today, or our session today, will be focusing, or will be about the risk strategy and planning, which is the first step in the life cycle of the project management, or the risk management, sorry. What we are going to cover today, the purpose of this the purpose of plan risk management, and the techniques, the basic techniques for plan risk management, the domain one. This is considered to be as domain one. Another thing, guys, before in the PMI, when it comes to it is product like the PMP, the risk management, the schedule management, the business analysis program, the agile, etc. They were focusing on the areas, or they were structuring the standard based on the knowledge area. Tamam. But after the Corona time, after 2021, I think they changed the structure or the style of the standard. So it became to focus more on the domain rather than the knowledge area. Why they did this? Again, because they are focusing on the integration part of, because no one actually is running a project as a separate entity. When we are talking about risk, the risk is affecting the communication, or you need to be integrated within the communication. If you are talking about the purchasing or the resources as well, you need to integrate your knowledge area with those different items. So they focus on dividing those or categorizing those domains or knowledge area under more logical domains. So in the PMP, for example, they categorize the structure to be focusing on domain people, domain process, and the last one is the business one. So it makes more sense when it comes to applying the elements within the standard, or taking this guideline and apply it in reality. Another thing that we will cover here today is the success factor for plan risk management, and we will take some questions. Okay. So in your mind, guys, when we are saying planning, what do you think about planning? What should plan always cover? Can anyone please answer? Let us discuss those items. Please, anyone, feel free to open your mic and speak. When we are, yeah. Yeah, okay. Again, please come again.
We are planning to do in the future, like something.
Okay. As our colleague here, he is trying to say that planning actually is to have an anticipation for the work, how this work is going to be executed. So basically, any plan in the world must answer the different questions, like how the risk management processes what is going to be carried out. We said that the style of the PMBOK or the risk standard actually is focusing on the processes, right? So how we are going to carry out this processes, how these processes are going to be integrated with each other. Again, the risk management plan should answer also how the process will be fit in the different domains. These are different type of questions that will prepare us to carry out the work of the project management in a proper or in a, let's say, optimal and more of efficient style. Another thing for the project management plan also need to understand or to cover is the terminology. For example, sometimes, guys, even when we are speaking in a general discussion, the main or the basic terminologies might interpreted in a different way according to each one. So the project management plan need to set the definition of the basic elements that the project need to cover. For example, when we said big or when we said like a high risk, so maybe high risk in my consideration, in my opinion, as Insaf, it will be something that might cost the company 5,000 riyal. But for example, Julian will think that it is maybe 100 the threshold is 100,000 riyal for this to be considered big. So the plan need to set these ambiguity in a one clear terminology. This is a very essential element that the plan should specify. So we as a team, we as a stakeholder will have a defined, will have a general understanding, a common understanding, what I mean to say, a common understanding when it comes to definition of the risk and how we are going to tackle and implement or plan this defined risk. Again, the project, the plan, the risk management plan should reflect also the organization threshold and appetite. So how those things going to be influenced? You know, that we said that for each organization, the goal, the value is going to be different. So this is going to influence our appetite in the organization, right? Another thing is the culture of the organization. We agreed that there is different style when it comes to defining the appetite of the organization. Some might be a seeker or avoidant, etc., or a neutral. Organization, resources, and capabilities. Another thing that can define the appetite of the organization actually is the resources, the fund, the availability of calibers, the market that the organization is playing in. So those different items affect the organizational threshold. Those should be also regarding the culture, the resource that we are going to use, the goal, the value. All those need to be included in the risk management plan. So when I said we are planning for the risk for a certain project or a certain program, what is the purpose? Why we are doing this? Can anyone please give us give us example of why he is planning the risk. In your opinion, what might be the purpose of planning the risk for any project, beside anticipating the future, or how we are going to play it, how we are going to manage it in the future? Anyone open the mic and contribute to this session?
So we can act proactively, we can put some responses, so there will be no, that one will be still remain the issue, a risk, not the issue, and it will not
Great.
impact.
Actually, this is a valid purpose for having, like, when it comes to the stakeholder, in your opinion, how the plan is going, what is the benefit of the plan?
A
Actually,
plan
So
would
he will,
be,
yeah, please.
yeah, the plan would be a draft to know about, know the anticipation and identification of any issues involved in the process, which can be treated or non-treated, something like
So
this. We will
so
have a clear picture.
perfect. So they are going to be participate within their roles and capabilities and responsibilities. This is what you're trying to say. Okay, when it comes to reflecting, what about when it comes to reflecting the expectations? So also the risk management plan, one of the purpose of having it actually is to determine their expectations. So the purpose of having a plan, as you guys contribute, it's to develop all the risk, the overall risk management plan. Anticipating whatever is coming to the future, then it means that you need to have a proper management for the overall risk. Either it is coming from the project, either it is a collaboratively from different project within certain program, or it is actually arising from certain operational activities. And if those individual risk have reached to a certain threshold, it means also it affecting at the overall organization. So it might be a component, it might be individual, it might be the collective. So it will, in the end, as a conclusion, we will have the overall risk management plan. Decide the execution of the risk management plan. As we said, this guidebook actually will not be applied as is. We will according to our organization resource and capabilities, according to the value, according to the culture of the organization, we need to select what is suitable for the project complexity. As it is complex, or as it is big or small project, it is a very complex one. Is it part of a certain project, etc. So we will decide, we will select, we will tailor the current resources to be applied on our project or program or portfolio. Which part of the processes that we are going to use, which part of tools or techniques that we are going to use. Again, another thing that the plan risk management is going to explain, the integration with other activities, the integration into portfolio, program, and project management, and it will define the conditions where or under which the corresponding actions are initiated. It means we will say, remember when we defined that the trigger, the warning sign, those also going to be explained in the risk management plan. Another thing that is very important, and actually this is an exam question, to determine the frequency of processes repetition. Actually, the process determine the processes can be also, for, let us say, how you are going to define the projects. How many times are you going to define it by end of each phase? Are you going to do it on a weekly basis? Is your project required to have a monthly revision on this? This is an example, for example of defining the risk. What about the reporting and the status, updating the status of the project, the risk within the projects or the portfolio or the program? Also, you need to understand the plan will explain how many times the report should be raised, to whom it should be raised, what is the expectation of the each stakeholder from this report. If you are going to deliver it to, let's say, the finance department or to the chairman. In this case, each one of them is going to look on the items on the status update according to their subjective or according to their expectation. So you need to subject each report to meet the expectations. Those actually the repetition sometimes can't be exceptional, occur from exceptional condition or based on a normal frequency that is decided within the already implemented within the risk management plan. Things that is important, or actually the main thing that the risk management plan is going to explain is the risk appetite of the organization. So this is the first item that you need to look as a risk manager or a project manager before articulating your risk management. Guys, remember in the introduction we said that we consider the juice maker, whatever is put inside it, then the tool is the juice maker, then we will have the fresh juice as a result, right? So you are, as a project manager or risk manager, have some elements or requirements that you are going to work in using the proper tool and technique to have the outcome. So one of the things that you need to look at as a risk manager is the business itself, the business document itself, because the business document actually is going to reflect it's going to be a part of the main resources that are going to articulate for us the project charter. And if you remember, guys, we said the project charter going to explain the main elements of any projects. One of those elements actually is the risk factor. So from those initial documents, as a project manager, or as a risk manager, you need to explain what you need to understand what's the risk appetite or the risk threshold of any of the organization or the project that you are looking for. So because it is the level of the risk acceptance that you need to work or plan for it, right? So stakeholder ability to tolerate uncertainty towards achieving specific objectives is going to influence your plan. Guidelines and rules of escalation process reflects the stakeholder and expectations. Monitor any change of in a stakeholder attitude by effective communications. Here, what they are trying to say by those three, maybe you think, what is the relationship of those three factors with the risk appetite? Actually, the stakeholder expectation is going to be a reflection of the risk appetite, right? The escalation process is going to show you as a project or a risk manager what is the expectation also of the stakeholder, and how they are defining the risk and how they are categorizing the level, the risk itself, and how they are defining the level or the probability of the impact of the risk. So those factors can be figured out from the escalation process as well. Before explaining the last thing, I want to get back to the project manager. Remember when we said that the project, the product of the PMI actually is giving you different product, PMP, risk, etc. And when it comes to PMP, they are saying a project manager. Which is, when it comes to the project, they are saying the program manager. When it comes to risk, they are saying a risk manager. But for all those managers or for all those facilitators, sorry, or leaders, there's a triangle. You need to understand what is this triangle. The first one, the skills of the manager himself, which is mean the interpersonal skills of the manager, or the servant leader or the team leader. The second item is the managerial skills of the manager or of the risk manager in our case. The last one is the technical skills of the manager. So the interpersonal definitely will include items like emotional intelligence, communication, negotiation. So as a risk manager, because we are talking about risk here, as a risk manager, you need to depend on those three items: interpersonal skills, managerial skills, technical skills. So when it comes to monitor and communicate with your stakeholders, it is always crucial for the risk manager to closely monitor the stakeholders. Why? Because while you are proceeding in the project, their attitude as well might change. When we are talking about attitude, it means about their contribution to the work. So if you have a supportive stakeholder in the beginning, once, for example, you faced or tackled with several items and issued, so your stakeholder become hesitant about your skill, or become non-supportive with the items that rise from your project. So here you need to depend on your interpersonal skills to again change the stakeholder and regain his trust and confidence with the project and with with you also as a risk manager. So communication in some of the project management or the risk, they consider communication is actually consuming 90% of the risk manager time. So it is very important to have the proper communication or the needed skills for the communication, because whenever you are carrying out any items within your project, you're doing it by communication. Either it is verbal, body language, emails, texting, etc. So communication is a very essential part and actually can enhance your outcome as a project manager, even if you are facing bad time or bad results. By communication, you can change the attitude of stakeholders. So it is important when you are or it is the first thing that you need to look at it before starting or articulating your risk management plan, is the risk appetite. When it comes to the risk appetite, not only the threshold as a money or a schedule, but also your stakeholder expectation. Okay. Another element you need to take in consideration when you are doing your plan is tailoring. And actually those elements, as you can see, it is very crucial, or it is very essential inputs in your in any step when we are going to manage the risk. So it will be in planning, it will be in identifying, analyzing, etc. So how you are going to tailor your plan, depending on the resources. Resources, it can be templates. It can as small as templates, or it can big as funding. Okay, you need to tailor also your plan according to the escalation path, the methodology. Actually, when we are speaking about methodology, we are referring to the style of the management, how you are going to manage the project. Are you going to use the agile? Agile is a very flexible. Are you going to use a very set forward plan, waterfall? Are you going to use the hybrid style for some areas or some phases of the project? Going to apply the agile or the waterfall? And also the processes. So the methodology actually is, when you say methodology, we are referring to agile or waterfall. Each one of them have different processes. So even for you, you need to consider what are the processes that is going to use, the tools and the techniques. This is also something that you need to tailor you need to tailor your plan according to the tools and the techniques that is available in your organization. Supporting infrastructures, review and update frequency, reporting requirements. Those always going to be elements that you consider before applying any steps or any process when it comes to the risk management. So tailoring will be based on organization risk appetite, level or domain that you are working on, level or process of maturity. Remember, this was something that we said the maturity of the process within the organization is different from one to one. It might be different within your organization from a project to a next project. For example, you are working with a project with a certain nature for the first time. Definitely, the process is going to be more mature in the any coming or any resemblance, new resemblance projects with the same nature, right? The risk characteristics. So when it comes to risk also, each one of them is different. Each risk actually have its own nature, its own limitation or constraints even. So this is again going to affect your tailoring. What the domain complexity, this is another thing also. Type. Things that rise because we are still talking about tailoring, so it is important, and we are talking about risk appetite. So it might be very good. It might be very. It might be good to understand what are the different sources of players in our risk management and the source also. So here they are categorizing some things that might affect your planning as people, tools, business. Definitely, we are talking about people, so their attitude is going to affect your planning. How they are contributing to the project by their expectations. They might be a source of risk to the project by their attitude as well. The people also, you need to understand the role and the responsibility of each player within a project, a certain project. The role and the responsibility actually will help you to establish the plan, or it will help you to draw the main lines when it comes to the processes, how it will be carried out, right? It also, remember here we said organization resource capabilities, the capabilities actually of the people will be a limitation, or it will be an advantage to your project. So those are also different elements that might affect your planning, either by contributing to the risk factor, or by being an elements that you need to tailor to your project. Okay. Another thing that we need to understand how the cycle is working. we said that there is a cycle for the risk management, right? Starting by plan and ended at monitor. And we said that as any risk manager, he will use whatever he have other resources as an input, applying the right tools and techniques to have the proper or the expected outcome for this step, right? And we said that the new style of the PMI is focusing on another concept, is the domain. So, and each domain to be for each domain, there is certain task the risk manager, in our case, or the project manager need to apply to satisfy this domain. And how he will achieve those tasks by using certain enablers. So the domain actually is what you know. The task is what you will do. Enablers, how you will do it. Tamam. So for us to plan our risk management, we need to use certain tools that will help us to establish the risk plan. In your opinion, guys, what are those tools? Can anyone speak regarding the tools that you will use as a risk manager to articulate your risk management plan? Anyone, feel free to unmute yourself and speak. Okay? Let me pick Julian. Julian.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
You are trying to plan. You are trying to prepare. You have a new project, and you are trying to prepare the risk management plan for this project. You have been asked to prepare this one. So, what comes to your mind for, let us say, collection of the data? How you will do it? What the tools that you are going to use? Let us say that يعني tell me. I want to have just a discussion. يعني don't be يعني feel free to make mistakes. There is nothing called as mistakes.
No, as a just I will, as usual, we do here with us, we review the processes as a process approach, and from there we will try to identify the risk.
Okay, so review. And how you are going to review this? مثلا, for example, are you going to sit with the required stakeholder?
Yes.
So in this, exactly.
We will try to see if there is any internal external issues, and who are the interested parties for internal external.
Exactly.
Internal,
so exactly. So you are going to use.
See from risk or opportunity. Yes.
So you will meet with the stakeholder or the expert in the project, right?
Yes.
So this is actually, meeting is a tool that you are going to use as a risk manager. Expert are resources that you are going to use or tools that you are going to use as well in anticipating the risk management. Anyone else? Mohammed, are you with us today? Mohammed, are you here?
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Like the risk register we are maintaining, can it be a tool, the identification and the marking of these risks, and then benchmarking, where we have to like benchmark that after crossing this threshold, there is a risk and we have to take this one seriously. It become an issue. And then again, any metrics which we can develop.
Okay. So what you're trying to say here, you are going to use, for example, the internal team resources, right? So you have an expert from the organization who are going to dictate what the organization is looking for. And you said that there is a team or expert that they are expert in the project itself, right? So you have two sides of the expertise within the organization, that they are going to reflect what the organization is want, and expertise from outside the organization, for example, who have technical expertise in the project itself. So for you to build some tools that you are going to use as a risk manager is the expert judgment, stakeholder analysis, meetings. Meetings actually can be in the style of interview if there is any confidential information. It can be, you can collect the information, for example, by sending emails. So you can generate massive or huge information by one click, and so on. So who's going to, why we need the expert? The expert can be familiar with the organization activities or the nature of the project or the activity nature. Here we're saying activity because we are trying to say it might be project, it might be portfolio, it can be operation activity if you are talking about the portfolio level, or it can be a project, right? So why it is important to do a risk, to do a stakeholder analysis. Our PMP, our new PMP certified, can you please open the mic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Remember that what are the initial documents that you are going to prepare as a project manager? Actually, the first document is the project charter, right? What is the immediate second document?
Project schedule, scale.
Actually, it is
And
which is important, of course. It will be one of the initial document. But what is the first document to be prepared after the
project
project
charter,
charter?
the first is, yes.
What is it?
Mm, Scope of work.
Actually, let me tell you, it will be the stakeholder register. So it is very important, guys. This is the second document, immediate second document to prepare after the project charter. So it is important, even it is more important to have it in advance before preparing the scope schedule or scope baseline, or before preparing the schedule, because the stakeholder, they are the one who's going to be responsible for feeding you back with the initial information. For example, you have a risk aspect for the project, right? So your stakeholder as a chairman is going to be, for example, the one who's going to dictate for you the risk appetite of the organization. So the first thing that you need to start by preparing is the stakeholder analysis. Actually, stakeholder analysis is going to help you to have a stakeholder register. The stakeholder register, it will describe the items, the expectations of each stakeholder. And how you are going to do this? By meetings. So this is it might be new for you because there is no order. But mostly, the second immediate document to be prepared in any project actually is the stakeholder register. تمام. طيب.
And this stakeholder expectation, stakeholder expectation can be taken as a stakeholder's requirement, something like.
Actually, it is the requirement. You're right. There is a document like the risk register, and I showed you an example of a risk register called the stakeholder register. The stakeholder register, it might include basic information as the name, the title, the email, the communication preferred tool. So basic information. It might it might explain also the update requirements. the report that required by this stakeholder. It might also indicate what is the expectation of this stakeholder. Let us say that you have a project, for example, and you need to take approval from the government, like let's say construction, and you need, the first thing that you need to do before putting a fence or even a penny on the land, you need to have the بلدية license, right? So this is a stakeholder requirements. How are you going to do this? How you are going to understand this? By having your register. What is the tool that you did apply to have a register in hand? Is the stakeholder analysis. So this is an example, for example.
Okay.
This is an example.
So this
A
stakeholder
governmental.
analysis. So this, yeah. So the stakeholder analysis will have the tools like SWOT analysis, the PESTLE, all these things, right? Sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. So by the way, your stakeholder, the stakeholder can be internal or external. Internal within the organization, or external as the government, or as the client. For example, you are preparing, you are developing a software. The software is going to serve, for example, clients. So who's going to use this new technology? The clients. What they are expecting from this technology. Let's say, مثلا, the people who develop hunger station, they want an application who have a list of restaurants, and they want it to be integrated with the delivery, and also they are not focusing about the delivery, but they have this side. They have the side of the clients who wish to have a meal at their home, for example, and they have the suppliers. The suppliers who are going to provide, and they have the vendors or the complementary vendor at another angle. So these elements need to be integrated when the requirements of those stakeholders need to be integrated when we are developing the technology, right? To satisfy each one of them as their requirements. All of them, they are using the app, but the requirements from the app is different. So this is how you need to think about it when you are doing the analysis. تمام. Another thing that we need, the risk management plan is going to use, and also it will have an output, right? We agreed that anything that we are going to plan or we are going to carry out will have an input, tools and technique, and output. So what are the outputs, and in some of the elements, what are the inputs to the risk management plan? We agreed that the organization going to dictate on us what are the methodologies that you are going to use. So let's say that you are working within a portfolio. So you, as a portfolio manager, going to divide the projects, the projects under the portfolio according to their nature. You are going to use to specify a certain risk methodology. So in some of the projects, you will apply the agile. In some of the projects, it will be a waterfall style. So you, as well as a risk manager, you need to understand the organization, how they are going to use these resources, so you can use it in your plan. So the risk management methodology, something come from the organization. It is an input to your risk management plan. The risk management strategy. This as well is going to be depending on the value of the organization, right? It is, we said always, the strategy is a representation for the value or for the objectives that we are seeking for. So this is also going to be what is the value that the project is going to achieve. So depending on the value of the project, you also going to dictate what is the value of the risk. Okay, so this is going to be as input in your risk management plan. Another thing that you are going to use is the RASI, which is the something referring to the responsibility, authority, accountability within the organization. This is going to be a reflection, since you are talking about stakeholder expectations, those, remember we said here, those items can contribute or contribute to the risk, or by being a player, or by being a risk factor, right? So the roles and the responsibility is something that you need to consider when planning your risk management plan. Stakeholder risk appetite, that's why it is important always to do a stakeholder analysis to have your risk appetite and threshold set within the risk management. So things that will determine how you are going to plan your risk in the project, the templates that is provided within the organization. So if you are going to again talk about organization, it is always important to understand what is the OPA, and the EEF, which is the environmental enterprise environmental factor, and the organization process assets. Those are important factors always you need to consider when you are trying to execute any process. The template within your organization is actually one element, one thing that is considered as a resource and capability. Remember here we said the organization resource and capabilities. So the templates are actually is part of the organization resource and capabilities. Not only the templates. Another important thing that you might use when planning your risk management actually is the lesson learned. Any company should have a lesson learned reservoir. From there, you can use whatever you have learned from previous work to apply in your next project. So these are elements that will dictate how you will articulate your plan. Or on the other hand, I said this can be an output required to the plan risk management. So it might be an output, or you need it also to plan your risk management. So if you don't have the proper templates, it means that you need to plan the templates. Okay, if you don't have the proper methodology, maybe you need to adapt the right methodology within your plan. So the contribution actually is in and out, is going to work in a style of in and out. Risk management techniques. Also, this is something that Monte Carlo, etc., the impact probability calculation, the templates within the organization. This is also something that you need to plan in your risk planning management or risk management planning. Timing and funding. And always, guys, you will find that whenever you are talking about time, you are talking about funding, you always mention timing. In any stage of the project, you need a certain funding amount. So this is going to be linked to the execution of the work. So if you are in phase one, first quarter, you need a certain fund. In the second phase, you reach the second phase in the third quarter, for example, or end of the first quarter, then you need a certain amount of funding. So the funding arrangement always is considered to be according to schedule of the project. So always timing and funding is linked together. And both of them are going to affect the risk management plan, because if we had this event occurred in our project, how we are going to fund this? Did we plan our funding for this certain condition? It should be mentioned clearly in the risk management plan. Risk breakdown structure. Our new PMP champion, can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. In the scope management, there were something called the scope SB structure, scope structure breakdown, right? Can you explain this to us from a scope perspective? What is the breakdown structure for the scope? Structure breakdown for the scope? Can you explain what is the scope structure breakdown?
No, sorry, I didn't remember.
No problem. Actually, one thing that we used as a project manager is breaking down the scope. تمام? By using something called structure, using something hierarchy called or structure called structure breakdown, right?
Okay, but I remember work breakdown structure for the segments.
For the segments, of course, you will have your whole scope, whole project breakdown by decomposition, tool called decomposition, onto smaller pieces until you
Yes,
have the smallest work breakdown, right? Until
yes,
you
right.
cannot further decompose this element, right?
Yes, correct.
We will do the same with the risk. We will break it down by decomposition into smaller amount. طيب, can you tell us why we do this to the items? Why we break it down?
To control it
Exactly.
precisely.
Okay. What else?
Controlling the cost, time, and again the having the scope defined.
Exactly. Allow me just to open it because it is very important. Allow me to open it. This is an example of WBS, work breakdown structure. So what they are doing, they are decomposing the scope into different elements. They can do it, for example, by phases. They can do it by activity. They are do it if we are talking about يعني or management item, it can be divided by departments, etc. So as you can see here, as
Time,
our
cost. Yes,
yeah,
please,
as
please.
our friend said, it was going to help us for doing control, and even in some cases they call it or they name it a control account. So here is a construction of a house: internal, foundation, external, electricity, plumbing. So those smallest elements are going to have called planning packages. And the least one, so test and clean, we cannot decompose it into any further step. So we call this the smallest item work package. As well, we can do this, we can take this work-based structure or WBS, and we can apply to each one of them what is the risk item that might rise from this item. And actually what they are doing here, and after they having this one, the last one, they will break it into activity. تمام? So we will have the work package until we will decompose our items until we have something called the work package. تمام, guys? So we will take the work package and we will break it further into activities. تمام? So each activities will require resources, right? So we have capital resource or material and human resource, right? From here we will apply what we call the cost planning, and from the activity we will apply the schedule. تمام? I will give you another example from the cost. This is the schedule. The cost. Yeah. Please look with me. So what they do here, they took a work package. تمام? The work package actually have different activity. تمام? Like 5 activities. Those 5 activities might be completed by 2 capitals or 3 capitals or 5 capitals. For each one of them, there is a cost. So then they will have the work by completing this. they will have the work package estimates. After that, they will have control accounts estimates. تمام. Then they will collectively they will have the project estimates. Okay. Actually, this is very nice. This is an illustration. تمام, guys. I want you to focus here with me. So they will have the project estimates. تمام. بعدين they will have something called contingency reserve. Okay. This is actually to deal with the risk. تمام. Then they will have something called the cost baseline. From 1 to 6, this is under the management of the project manager. تمام. He can, if any cost occur here, okay, within those calculation, including the contingency reserve, the project manager doesn't need to take any approval. تمام. After having the cost baseline, any breakdown to the baseline, for example, we had something, some risk that was not calculated properly, and the contingency reserve actually is not covering. So we need to take approval from the chairman or from the committee, the governance committee, to use the management reserve to tackle this or tackle certain risk management. So I'm just trying to explain to you this one because I want you to understand what is the risk breakdown structure. It is actually something called, actually a hierarchical framework of potential risk, source of risk. So they will use different elements as an input, like the WBS, and will put all the source that they identified in their requirements in the identification register, and will give it a level of category: technical risk, management risk, commercial risk, external risk, internal risk, different type. They can actually name it or categorize it according, again, to the terminology or to the resources that is used within the company. We might actually define our risk according to design stage or construction stage, right? So, or different way of defining this one. Don't worry about this. We will explain it when it comes. We cover the rest of the cycles. But I wanted just for you to understand what is WBS. Actually, it is a decomposition. It is a hierarchical decomposition of the scope. As well, we can do this. We can apply this in the risk. So the RBS, the risk breakdown structure.
Why we do this breakdown? To make it easier, or what is that?
Again, as our colleague said, it is for control. It will make it easier. Actually, it will make the anticipation of or identification of the risk. It can be more accurate.
Management will be easy if we divide and if we do the breakdown.
Exactly. Exactly. So you can categorize it. After that, it will help you also to budget it. So you as a risk manager, your work is, don't forget that our work is integrated with different activities. So you need to make your analysis for the resource for the risk items, right? So you can have it budgeted, you can have it meet the expectation of different stakeholder, and etc. So here, let me tell you what is the definition. So RBS is a hierarchical framework of potential sources of risk. The RBS helps to identify specific risks in relation to its category and offers a framework for other risk identification techniques such as brainstorming. So it will make it easier for us. If you remember, as a risk manager, we said that there is different tools that you are going to use: the meeting, the expert, of matters and the stakeholder analysis. This is example again. This is not the whole list. But what are you going to do in the meetings, for example, brainstorming? تمام? You have by doing the analysis of the risk analysis, now you know their expectations. So you are going to categorize their the issues that might arise or the risk that might arise in levels, right? So here, some example of technical risk: scope definition, requirements definition, estimation and assumptions and constraints. You might have technical process issues, right? Or risk rise from a technical process. Risk arises from technology, technical interfaces. So those are examples of technical risk. What about external risk? Legalization, exchange rate, site facility. I myself, I had a big issue with exchange rate with a project that I was running in Istanbul. Every 2-3 months, we had a different exchange rate that affected our project massively, because in the end, it affecting the inflation in the market that they are running in. So those are external factors that you might consider when you are identifying your risk. Site facilities, environmental weather. Tell me.
Sorry, I am interrupting. Just to mention in external risk, can we mention the escalation costs also?
Of course, escalation actually can be a management risk or a technical risk. تمام؟ لأنه in the end of the day, it is a process. But when it comes to, let's say, legalization, if you have an outsider or external membership that need an escalation, right? You need to inform him with certain elements. So it can be a part of our issue. طيب, guys, can any one of you tell me from your experience, from your work, can you share with us external risk factor? Let us discuss this slide. Let us contribute to it. Ahsan, can you tell us some commercial risk? Or let us do it in this way. Give us an example of risk that you have that you deal with and give it a category.
Market conditions, we can say, like on our project, uh, we have framework, and the prices were decided for the asphalt and concrete earlier, but now the rates are changed. The increase is the rate. This is the risk also, I think.
Yeah, I feel you. طيب, Mudathir, can you tell me risk that you are facing and give it a category? Give it a level of category. Mudathir, are you with us? It is Mudathir, right?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, Mudathir. Give me an example of a risk that you are facing with any project, management project. Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you. Tell us an example of a risk that you are dealing with and give it a category.
Risk like
Okay, good. I asked this question.
Yeah.
Good. I asked this question
Can I?
before you contribute, Salim. Risk Mudathir can be from a team member. It can be from a manager. It can be from a resource, from a vendor, from a supplier. It can be from a management a process that you are dealing with. It can be from system that you are using. Risk can be of different sources. So don't think a lot, يعني, because what is your position, Muddathir? Can you tell us? What is your, what is your role?
He's QC manager. Mudassir, why you are not answering?
If you have any problem with the net, it's okay.
Network issue maybe.
طيب okay مدثر, no worries. It seems like you having a bad net. طيب Salim, what you wanted to say, please?
Actually, speaking for myself,
Yeah,
we
please.
have encountered already all of these risks, what you are specifying here.
Yeah.
External, commercial, technical, we have encountered. And there are some projects we are facing now, some we have done already. And I can say all of them. Even the scope, yes, we have the issues with the scope.
Exactly.
Scope was largely it's increased scope by the client or employer or PMC, and then comes the problem because scope is increased, other items are not increased. The time, cost, management, and the issues of the what you told actually the regulatory bodies which they are not approving or holding this one.
Yeah.
These issues we are facing,
Salim, can
and
you
we faced
remind
before.
me? Perfect. Can you remind me
Yes,
what is your
please.
position? What is your title?
Actually, I am contracts commercial guy.
Contract commercial guy. So, يعني, guys, can you see this is type of different projects related, so related to commercial contracting. So he might Salim faces different risk when it comes to commercial contracts, right, Salim? It can be from from the source can be from wrongly interpreting the requirements of the clients, right? Although we are speaking with the same language, sometimes you will let me tell you an example that I faced yesterday. We have a project. Actually, it is a technological project. So while we are working, we decided to make our project actually into two phases. Then sorry, in one phase, okay, completely from the beginning to the end. Then we decided to have it into two phases. So I asked them clearly that we are going to focus only on the marketing size of this part, and we were not going to activate the logistic part of it. تمام? So what they did understand from my word, it's actually to remove totally the payment engine, but the subscribers have to pay some fees. Okay, so يعني, can you see, although we are speaking the same language, but what they interpreted the scope, they have interpreted the scope in a different way. So actually this is a risk. This is can be considered as a risk, a technical one. Okay, guys. So when it comes to risk, don't think about it only from the project side, the project point of view. Think of the stakeholder contribution. Think of the organization contribution. Think of the market they are playing with the market that you are staying in. Think of the politics. Think of anything that might affect your project. تمام? Thank you, Salim. Thank you, Muddassir. Yasir, you wanted to say something?
I already said.
Okay, thank you. طيب. تمام. طيب, guys. So we said that the PMI is categorizing the material into domain, and the risk manager need to achieve certain task within the domain, right? Using certain tools and techniques called enablers. And now today we are explaining the domain of planning. تمام? So what are the tasks the project manager need to take care of when it comes to the risk and strategy planning? So guys, we agreed that the structure, the standard is structured on the domain base, right? Under each domain, there is certain task the risk manager need to achieve, the project manager need to achieve, to fulfill, the program manager need to fulfill according to the material. You are the risk manager, right? So if the project doesn't have a risk manager, then the project manager need to act as the risk manager. So what are, still with me? I feel like I have problem in the net. Everything is good? Yeah, عندي مشكلة في النت. I'm disconnected, right?
We could hear you.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you. So guys, what are the first task you need to take care for, so it will help you as a risk manager to do your planning. Actually, it's something called perform a preliminary document analysis. From the beginning, I explained to you that you as a risk manager, you need to have the business, to look at the business documents, like the project charter, like the business case, like the stakeholder register. Those elements are actually are going to be used by you as a project manager. So gather and review documents. Example of those documents actually to review prior to risk identification include industry benchmarking, if available, previous lesson learned, historical data, and source of all above information. So basically, what you need to do is, as a project manager, actually is to do analysis for the documents. Determine and assign who is going to be responsible for the preliminary documents. Are you going to do it as a project manager? Are you the risk manager? Is the financial controllers going to be responsible for it? So you should assign who's going to review those preliminary documents, and then you will establish the relevant documents relevant to the risk process. تمام? Another task you need to take care of as a risk manager is to confirm the risk threshold based on the risk appetite. Remember, we said that the first thing that you need to do as a risk manager before creating the risk plan, you need to sit with the stakeholder, you need to sit with the expert from the organization, and to dictate what is their expectations, what their appetite as a risk, as a stakeholder. So you need to align the project risk threshold you need to align your plan to the risk threshold of the organization. Okay, calculate the risk of the organization that can be absorbed. Sorry, there is a missing here. Like what? What are the calculations that you are using? The financial, the scope, environmental, technical, legal, schedule, quality, contract, all different, because remember we said, when we said there's a threshold, we have a time threshold, we have a quality threshold, we have a contract threshold. Discuss the risk threshold. Okay. Again, we said that the plan need to set the general understanding of the definition. So as a risk manager, you need to discuss the risk threshold with each stakeholder, what they are expecting, and take a proper definition from them, calculate the risk, so you will have a general understanding. No misunderstanding will happen through the project. Lead conflict resolutions. And of course, if the risk expectations associated with a stakeholder not reasonable, you as a project manager or the risk manager, you need to discuss and explain to them what is the effect of these risk items on your project. Maybe it is they saw an item of a big red flag on the project, but from your experience, from the project that you have been taking care of, you know that this actually is not the reality. So you need to discuss the risk threshold with the stakeholder. Lead conflict resolutions between stakeholders in agreeing on risk appetite. One of the successing factor for you as a risk manager actually is to get a consent on the risk appetite and threshold and expectation from different stakeholders. So it is important and remember we said that there are three items that, or three angles that, elements that the risk manager need to have: technical, interpersonal, and the management. So managing conflict, resolving conflict is one of the tasks that you need always to take care of a project manager. Guys, whenever you face any question in the exam, the first need that the logic to answer the questions actually is communication, collaboration, and then making any further actions. تمام؟ لأنه because that everything as a risk manager or as a project manager you need to solve. So most of the questions in the exam, they are asking you for the action, right? So put in mind that communication is consuming most focus from the work that you are taking care of. So how you are going to solve the items? First thing, you need to sit with the person that is causing the issue or the problem. So communicate, cooperate, explain, and then you can take next step. So leading conflict resolution between stakeholders in agreeing on risk appetite. It is most important item for your success to have an agreement on all those factors. تمام? Agreement on the definition, agreement of the risk of the threshold. تمام? The second task, this is the third, right? Task 3. معلش هنا في mistiming. Task 4. Assess project environment. Tamam, guys. Remember when we said that everything is going to be contributing in and out from in the process to do the planning. So you need also to assess the project environment, because there is external threats to your project, right? And there's internal threats to your project. We agreed that the OPAs is mostly internal factors, and the EEF can be internal and external. So you need to determine all those factors and assess them again, and to see how they will contribute to the project that you are dealing with, so you can plan it in ahead. Analyze the different environmental factors to be considered in the planning phase, like PESTEL, SWOT analysis, and we will explain those later on. Determine the organizational and cultural risk appetite. Again, this is very important. Analyze the environment for example, like the risk culture maturity. Evaluate the project. And of course, guys, not every company have a risk department, right? Not every company have a risk policy within their organization. So it is very important to understand what is the culture that you are working on and you need to adapt to it. Evaluate. So your plan need to be in alignment with the organization culture and the organization value and the organization resources and capabilities. Evaluate the project management information system process and data. This is include also the lesson learned. Conduct like what? Like conducting a stakeholder analysis. Analyze constraints to risk management, like the government, the market, the rules, the environmental, the technical. This is what we explained in the RBS. Focus stakeholders on creating a culture of risk awareness. Again, the project manager need to have interpersonal skills. The interpersonal skills include coaching and training. So if you influencing, so if the team that you are working with, if the stakeholder that you are working with is not aware of the importance of the risk, you need to coach them, you need to train them, you need to influence them. Determine the business driver of a project, including key assumptions, benefits, materialization of project. This is already explained. Establish risk management strategy. Establish the risk processes and tools. This is something that you're going to use in your planning. Determine the risk metrics. Identify the risk categories. Coach, mentor team on risk management best practices, because you are acting as a servant leader. Servant leader actually is a synonym for a project manager used in the agile. Lead the stakeholders to adapt to the risk strategy if they are not already. Task 5, document the risk management plan. You already did your analysis. You did already the preliminary analysis for the documents. You already now you have all the inputs in your hand. Now you need to document the risk management plan. Define organizational risk rules and responsibilities. Why it is important? Can anyone tell me, unmute himself and tell me why it is important for anyone to understand what is the rule and the responsibilities? Definitely, one of the things that you need to do when you are planning, you will understand what is the escalation process, right? So defining organization risk and responsibility is very important. You need to align roles and responsibility with the project RAM or RASI. Outline the list of the key risk management activities: who, what, when, where, how. This is again related to the RASI. Who is going to report to whom, what he's going to be responsible, when he's going to apply this process, where he need to apply it, how he will make it happen. Explain how the risk breakdown structure can be used to support the risk management plan. Of course, if you are in a meeting and the RBS is a new terminology to them, so as a project manager, you need to explain to them the tools, the templates, the elements, the processes that you are going to apply. So this is again will be part of the RASI. It is part of the defining the organization risk and rules. So defining what we are going to use to do the processes is very important, and one of the most important elements when it comes to the RBS, actually, when it comes to managing the risk, actually, is the understanding the RBS. Define the risk communication plan. We are talking about escalation processes. So if we are talking about escalation processes, how we are going to escalate this, it means that we need to have a proper communication plan. So again, guys, keep in mind that we are always integrating the different processes when we are trying to complete or to execute any process. So defining the risk items actually is not happen in a solidary style, but we need to understand how we will communicate this risk items, how we will communicate it in the reports, for example. So it is always important to have a very solid communication plan. Define the risk prioritization criteria. So how we will prioritize our items. We have a list of different risk items. How we will go giving them the priority. Remember in the introduction, we talked about balancing between the effect and the value, right? So depending on the organization resources, depending on the objective, we need to balance our uh, risk. So if we have a risk of 1 million Riyal Saudi, then it means we will put more focus on the analyzing, on the processing, on the training, right? But if we have a risk of 5 Riyal, then it is an immaterial to a huge project that we need not to focus on or to put more control over it. So balancing. Balancing is the key word for doing the prioritization. Defining stakeholder empowerment and education strategies. This is also something that you need to understand your stakeholder attitude. The last task that the the risk manager need to understand, need to achieve actually, is plan and lead the risk plan and lead the risk management activities with the stakeholder. Who's going to who's going to do the meetings to dictate the threshold? So the risk manager actually is the one who's responsible for leading the management activities, including the planning. Collaborate with the team that would conduct the risk planning on the project. Leverage the stakeholder analysis done by the project manager. Manage stakeholder risk appetite and attitude. Not only dictate what is their appetite and attitude, but managing actually is a wider word. It means influencing them, adjusting them, consulting them, directing them, teaching them. Okay, engage stakeholders in the risk prioritization process. Set appropriate expectations with the stakeholders on the rules of engagement. The expectations, always you need to set the expectations. Expectations, it is not only about what they want. Actually, it is about what they will receive. For example, what I'm trying here to say, guys, that the project manager is not, or the risk manager here is not someone who's going to say okay for everything. So when you are taking the expectations, you need to set it. Not taking it, you need to set it. So the expectation need to be set properly. So what you are expecting as a stakeholder actually is achievable, but not like what you want. No, this is not practical. Actually, we are going to tailor the project requirements and need and objectives with your expectation to be in alignment. تمام? Tailor risk communication for stakeholder. Lead stakeholder empowerment for risk strategy and risk management plan. It means that everyone in the team need to have the understanding of the important and what is his role, from the smallest team member to the expert and more senior member in the team. Train, coach, educate stakeholder in risk principles and processes in order to create clear understanding of principle and processes to foster the engagement in the risk management. This is actually part of the work of any manager, actually in a good company. Any manager with a good attitude, in a good company environment, actually will always look for training and coaching and educating. The last thing that you need to put in mind, guys, the success factor for planning the risk management. The first one, acceptance by stakeholder. Acceptance by stakeholders. Here, you already did the discussion, you already educated them, you already defined the communication plan that you are going to use, you already gave them the template, the forms, the needed items for your work to be done. Before publishing or integrating the risk management plan, you need to take the acceptance by the stakeholder. The acceptance might be the financial controller who will set the budget. He might be the chairman who will approve that this is our risk appetite as organization. This is the team members who will be responsible for responding to any arisen risk item. تمام? So you need to take the acceptance. So we are on one page. Identification of the bias and correcting for it. It means, remember when I said that the plan will set the terminology, will set the tone. So if any misunderstanding or if anyone is expectation is not in alignment with our value and objectives, then we need to correct it. This is actually a contribution. It means that we are actually making a successful risk management plan. Alignment with internal, external constraints and priorities. This is again something important. We are doing our risk according to what we have, according to our constraints, according to our resources, according to the organization culture, according to the team members' capabilities, according to stakeholder expectations. So all of the plan the plan that we are preparing need to be in alignment with all those internal and external factors. Balancing between cost and effort. Again, we said one of the most important things, we need to do our calculation ahead for prioritizing the risk items, right? How we will do the prioritization by doing the cost effort benefit analysis, by doing the balancing between them to achieve the balance between them. So it doesn't make any sense. We are expending investing much money on a risk item of a low level as an impact on the project. تمام? Completeness with respect to the need of risk management process. It means that what we already planned actually is fulfilling the required process. This is it. This is our session. As you can see, guys, it's very easy chapter. Next time we will talk about identifying the risk items. تمام? Do you have any question before we start giving some examples? Are you still with me, guys? It is sometimes difficult. Yeah, okay, good. I thought you're not there. Tamam. This is the planning.
Is it possible to get these presentations for our?
Of course. Everything you received now, صح? The book, the last presentation, the question that we took last session, and I will share with you what we had today. Tamam? Don't worry. Do you have any difficulties? Is it easy? How is everything with you guys?
Yes, yes, easy.
تمام الحمد لله. طيب. Like we have 5 questions, so everyone will take one. تمام? Who would like to start? Who would like to start, guys? Yasser, please start. Question 1. It is for you. Can you read and give us the and choose two answers? Make sure that the two answers are right.
Okay. Risk manager of a major project facility a meeting to develop the risk management plan. What two factors does the risk manager need to consider to ensure an effective risk management plan developed?
So, what
Align
they,
the
yeah, they are talking about success factor. So what are
yes,
the success factor that the project manager or the risk manager need to look for?
aligning to project constraints and the priorities, applying modern risk management techniques, ensuring risk for RS, minimizing implementation cost, obtaining stakeholder acceptance. Uh,
Take your time to exclude and tell me why you excluded these items,
let me check first.
please. Aligning to project constraints and priority. Are you going to choose this one?
Actually, I'm driving and very difficult to read.
Okay. Sorry for that. Okay, don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry. So, aligning to project constraints and priority. This is something that we need to consider when we are trying to do the plan, right? Minimizing
Yes, I
Yeah.
understood that the what I decided this option A and E will be choose, but B, C, and D we have to. I think the second option will be obtaining stakeholder acceptance. We have to
I
take.
Right.
Am
So
I
A
right?
and E. A and E.
Yes.
You're right. Yeah, this is it. طيب, Julian. طبعا, of course, they did not talk about
चाहिए सर
minimize.
आओ ना
Okay. Yasser, put yourself on mute, please.
sorry
No problem. Ensuring risk response is okay. Mitigate all risk. No, we are not in the plan again. We will answer how, but we will not do the exercise in it. تمام? Applying modern risk management techniques. Never. We will apply whatever suitable framework or methodology according to the organization. So this is, of course, is a wrong one. Again, as Yasser said, it is A and E. طيب. Julian, can you take question number 2?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Start
Something
by
from
reading.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it clear?
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What should be used to determine how often a project's risk register should be updated or reviewed in a given year when the project is in a industry with a very high business presence?
actually,
Uh,
actually, this is what we call it, the frequency, the repetition
frequency of review.
frequency. Remember, guys, the
Yes.
repetition frequency. Okay. What
Any
is
project
the document? What is the document that will explain the repetition frequency?
This is a project risk management plan.
Sorry?
Project risk management plan.
Thank you. Bravo. This is it. لأنه طيب, why it is not the program management plan?
No. Uh, no, actually, the repetition frequency may not be with the B risk trigger. Program management plan, which is I felt it is not relevant to the project documentations.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say here, Julian,
Specific.
yeah, it is not a specific. This is it, right? This is it. يعني the program management plan actually is constituting from different project management plan, right? And the management plan, actually, the risk management is part of the project management plan, but it is not a specific one. And here they are specifically asking you about repetition frequency. So the right answer is A. طيب مدثر, are you able to read the exam, the question here? Are you able to do this?
Yes.
Okay, please.
The project manager start the development, the risk management plan. What is the expected outcome of development risk management plan? Number A, being able to monitor and control the risk throughout the project. Documenting the communication strategy for risk throughout the project. Defining how risk management will be executed throughout the project. Having the ability to identify the risk throughout the project.
Yeah. This is a tricky one. Because as you can see, all the options are right. So how you will answer it? You will select the most بالعربي اللي يحتويهم in English, the most general answer that explain all those steps. So here, the project manager.
Number 3.
C, bravo عليك, bravo. Why? Because execution, it means it is include management will be executed. The risk management will be executed, right? So
Yes.
the risk management include the monitor and control, and include the communication strategy, will include the identification. So this is the most general one. Thank you. C. Tamam. What about question number 4, Salim? Is it Salim or Ahsan? Salim, right? Salim, please. You're not driving, right? Yasser is driving.
Yes.
Please help us by reading question number 4.
The project manager and the risk manager of a new project to develop an application to support autonomous driving are meeting with the sponsor and key stakeholders to discuss the project. During the meeting, it is identified that the transport authority is discussing new traffic regulations for the industry that could be in a place before the project ends. How should the project manager and the risk manager handle this situation?
Come on. Read what is the options?
Alpha, perform inquiries on the website of the Traffic Authority weekly. Beta, send a letter to the Traffic Authority with general project information. And ensure the project complies with the current traffic regulations and law. Meet the Traffic Authority staff in charge of the new regulations. Just give me half a minute.
Take 3 minutes, come on.
So basically the regulations are to come. So it's something expected on the website. C, ensure the project complies with the current traffic regulations and laws.
Yeah, how he will do this? Actually, this is part of the question. This is part of the answer, but how he will do this? In your opinion? He need, the risk manager always need to ensure that the project is complying actually, but how he will do this in the beginning? What is the first step?
Okay, first step is to communicate with them, communicate with the authority.
Thank you. So, so this is would be, and the answer would be
D,
mean
meet the
to.
traffic authority
Thank
staff
you.
and change of the new regulations.
Yeah. بالضبط. And this is how you need to look, how you need to articulate your mind and thoughts when it comes to answer. The first thing, you need to understand what is happening. How you will do this? By communication. The second step is by doing the further analysis. So how you will do this? By performing inquiries, then send letter. This is the further analysis, right? The last step to ensure that the project is complying actually with the regulation, right? Thank you. Thank you. طيب, who want to take this? We all contributed,
I
right?
will take
Anyone
it.
miss? طيب, please go ahead.
During a meeting to develop the risk management plan, the risk manager recognizes that risks may be identified that could also impact other projects that the company is pushing. What should the risk manager do? Contact the risk manager of the other projects and inform them. Include an escalation process in the risk management plan. Take note of the extensive impact of these risks in the risk register. Address the unique characteristic of these risks on a case-by-case basis. C. Take note of the extensive impact of these risks in the risk register.
طيب, here they are talking about يعني شوف, again read the question. During a meeting to develop the risk management plan, the risk manager recognizes that risk may be identified that could be impact other projects تمام, that the company is pursuing. What should the risk manager do? You said take note of the extensive impact on the risk. تمام. This is, again, here they are talking about overall risk. They are talking about program mostly, right?
Program.
So what will be the answer? يعني, again.
Should be the yeah.
تمام, again.
Escalation
Again.
processes there.
تمام.
Okay.
تمام. I want you to understand why I asked talk about the escalation here. You are the risk manager. You might not be the project manager, right?
Well, for
So
this, okay.
yeah, I want you to understand what the point of view that you are answering the question. So the risk is coming from different sources, different projects. تمام, project. So how you will manage this one? Different items. You need to have a risk. You need to have the escalation process in front of you. صح? Contact the risk manager of the other projects and inform them. طيب, to do this, لأنه other project. But to do this, what the first thing that you need to understand? To do this, you will do this actually. You might be the other project manager actually might be the risk manager as well. But you need to inform him. How you will inform him first?
This
before
the escalation process. Yes, there should be some set standards, protocols.
طب what if escalation process was not here, وكان مثلا instead there were communication plan. صح?
Then has to develop. Yeah.
Actually, most probably it is part of the communication plan. So if the B was مثلا communication plan, then you need to understand what is the communication plan before communicating this risk item to the other manager. صح?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your time today.